Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome in. My name is Lance. I'm going to be your host today on 20-Minute Trader TV. Today is Monday, May 11th. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I'm really excited to get back on the charts with you guys. Continue to do some live trading. If this is your first time here, welcome in. We're excited to have you. If you've been here before, or if you've been on another live trading session, welcome back. Good to see you again, as always. This is going to be week number 4 of our 0 to payout challenge using a prop firm account. We're going to dive into what a prop firm is, what that challenge looks like. But the reason why I'm here is because Jeremy Russell, our founder, had asked me to do some live trading. Since I've been a 20-minute trader over the last 2.5 years, I've been able to see the whole system, in detail. So it's very important that you guys can see an over-the-shoulder look as to what I do each and every single day. So you guys can see if 20-minute trading is right for you, and just to get a feel for what I do each and every day. So 20-minute trading really as a whole, right, is really just a 20-minute trading movement or a trading movement that's been created for the beginner / non-trader to get into the markets in ways that they may not have been able to before, nor would they have thought of. Right, so we're not using a very complicated technical strategy that requires you to look on the charts for hours and hours a day. You don't need any fancy software as well. All you need is a very simple internet connection. We're using a simple, repeatable, shape-based system, and we're only on the charts for about 20 to maybe 30 minutes per day trading. So it's really allowed me to have a lot of flexibility in my life, and to where I can trade pretty much at any time of the day for however long I choose, and then just kind of go on about the rest of my day. So without further ado, let's dive into the charts here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Feel free to also let me know kind of where you're tuning in from, what brings you here today, and be happy to kind of chat with you guys as we go through it. So I'm sharing my screen right now. You'll see I am on tradingview.com as the charting and trading platform I'm using today. Now we are on 1-second charts, 1-second time frame charts. The reason why we're on the lowest possible time frame is that we can see the very intricate scalp style trades that we like to take. If we're on a larger time frame, like a 5-minute or an hour-long chart, we would have no idea that any of these trades were actually happening. So we need to be on a much lower time frame, hence the 1-second charts. Now we are trading in the futures market. The blue line is going to be the S&P 500 futures price line. That's what we're actually going to be buying and selling, the S&P 500 futures, or ES if you're going to be following along and trading with me. Now the orange line, you'll see there we have 2 lines, blue and the orange. Orange is going to be the comparison tool. So I'm not actually going to be buying and selling that. That will be the Dow Jones Index, just a combination, top 30 blue chip stocks, right? Nike, Home Depot, Disney, things like that. So I'm just using that to give me an idea of where the blue line wants to go. And you'll see here, this white line is going to be the RSI, or the relative strength index. Just know that if the market movements are stronger to the upside, this white line will be towards the top. Vice versa, if market movements are stronger to the downside, this white line will be towards the bottom. Now, we're not using any complicated math formulas here. All we're using to spot our pattern is going to be these trend lines here. Trend lines, all that means is that we're just seeing the average direction of price over the last couple of minutes. So all I'm looking for is for these blue and orange lines to be going in separate directions. Okay, so that could look like the blue line going up as the orange line is going down, vice versa. One of them staying flat, doesn't really matter. All I want to take a trade is in the direction of the blue line. All right, so if the blue line is pointing down while the orange line is up, I will take a trade betting that the blue line will go down further. Now with futures trading, you can take longs or shorts, meaning that you can make money if price goes up or down. So we're not limited to what's happening in the world and all that stuff. So it gives you just even more flexibility there. So I'm going to be looking for a couple of trades. Typically, I only take around 2 to 3 trades during this time frame, or during any of my sessions really. But the afternoon sessions can be a little bit slower, so you probably take a little bit less amount of trades as well. Just going to check the comments here. This is TradingView. Yes, that is correct. How much do you usually make in a session? Yeah, it depends. Great question. So I'm usually risking about $100 to $200 per trade. And I usually make about the same. So if I take 2 to 3 trades, maybe I win 1, or I lose 1, win 2. anywhere from 100 to maybe 250 is what I'm seeing on these sessions lately. Usually lose about the same as well. So I see the blue line is going down, right? We see our blue trend line is pushing down. We see the orange line is also going down as well. So that means they're parallel. So for me right now, there's no trade opportunities. What I would have liked to have seen is the blue line go down as the orange line stays flat, showing the difference in direction or in a clear relationship between the two. If they're going parallel, there's no way for us to know what might happen next. Again, we're trading the blue line here. I have what's called a take profit and stop loss already preset going into these trades, and hopefully if I enter a trade, I'll show you guys what that looks like, so that as soon as we enter the trade, we have our exit targets clearly defined, so we're not fumbling around with the trade mid-trade, which helps us in terms of risk management, and it just promotes a healthy trading environment for us. Always want to have a stop loss on. Always want to have some sort of a profit goal in mind. So I would love to see the orange line start to go a little bit more flat, if not point up, while the blue line is still very strongly pointing down, indicating that the blue line most likely wants to continue down further. But right now, we're just not quite seeing that. Now you see my account here. Apex Trader Funding is the prop firm I'm currently using. I'll kind of dive into that in a little bit. You'll see my account balance is $51,371. Our goal right now, just the first, I guess, half of the zero to payout journey is getting that to $53,000. So we're just about halfway there. So if you guys have been following along, I appreciate it. Kind of seeing the ups and the downs. We had a little bit of a losing streak about a week ago, but we're moving past that, coming back into a winning phase, which is awesome. Jay Phillips, what platform are you trading on? This is tradingview.com. Tradingview.com. Kind of the household name, I would say, in terms of charting platforms. There are tons of trading platforms, you can use to trade on, just for stream purposes. It makes it a lot easier just to trade on here as well. Now, typically in about 12 minutes at 350, we don't want to be in any trades. That's when a little bit of a news release, pretty much every day, kind of a data number comes out. I don't want to confuse anybody, but just know that there's likely to be a big spike in about 9 to 10 minutes, give or take, right at 350. So we'll just keep an eye out for that. But hopefully we get 1 or 2 trades before then. All right, so we notice that the blue line is pointing up as the orange line is kind of pointing down, right? So in my mind, price most likely wants to continue to go up, right? To continue to go higher. So at this point, all I'm looking for is a little pull back or a pull back down of this white line, the RSI, to give me my indication to jump in. So for right now, we're just going to hold off. We're going to stay patient. We're going to wait. So very clearly, now we see the difference in direction, right? We're kind of making that X-style shape. That's what we want to see. Before they were just going parallel, but now it's very clear. So now I'm just looking for a little drop down on my RSI, and then I will jump in betting that price will keep going higher, or a long trade. All right, so I'm going to enter the trade right there, betting that price will go higher. Let's see if we get there. So now you'll see I have my take profit up above, my stop loss down below. If I hit my take profit, it will close me out for a winning trade. Obviously, if I hit, there we go, winning trade. All right, so excuse me, I didn't get a chance to fully describe that, but I had my take profit up above. So once it closed me out for a profitable trade, that stop loss, which is down below, that would have meant that if I hit that level, it would have closed me out for a loss. So in that specific trade, made about 90 bucks in, what was that, 10 to 15 seconds. Not too bad if you ask me. All right, the reason why I was able to pretty much guess exactly before that spike went up was because of the relationship between the blue and the orange line, just simply waiting for a little bit of a discount with the help of my RSI, and I got a very, very clean entry there. So that was great. Question from Shanti McIntosh. How long are these live study sessions going to be going on for? For the foreseeable future. We have 3 sessions each and every day. One now, one a little bit later at about 7 o'clock Eastern, and then we also have one in the morning at 9 Eastern. So feel free to keep coming on back. 3 sessions a day. We're going to be doing this for a while. So yeah, no end date in mind. If you guys like what you're seeing, if you like the style of trades and you think this is pretty simple, I kind of like what I'm seeing, I want to get my chart set up and all that. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment the word more. We're going to DM you an absolutely free ticket to our upcoming web class. We can get your questions answered live about how you can be a full-time 20-minute trader. And if you're on YouTube or Twitch, just click the link down in the description. Like I said, just keep an eye on your DMs. If you comment the word more, there will be an absolutely free ticket for you to get to the upcoming web class. Definitely don't want to miss that. Now with the prop firm account, just to kind of go into that, you'll see, like I said, my account balance is floating around 51,400, give or take 500. Now, how much money does that take to get? Do you need to put 50,000 of your own money? No, right? Nor do most people have 50,000 to put into a trading account. Totally get it. With these accounts, right, prop firms are a way for you to start with low capital to be able to access large amounts of capital if you can prove yourself as a successful trader. So what that looks like in practice is these prop firm companies will say to the trader, okay, for a small fee, I paid $35, right, as my small fee, my entry fee, to get access to a challenge account, which is what we're currently doing, or an evaluation. Now, during this evaluation, they give you a paper trading or simulated $50,000 account, which is what we are currently using. Now, your goal is to start at 50, get that up to 53,000. If you can do that without ever hitting 48,000, by their standards, they will understand that you know how to manage risk. You pretty much know what you're doing to a degree. So then they feel comfortable giving you the actual 50,000 only then to then start to make profits, right? And then to withdraw. And then when you start to withdraw profit, typically the trader will keep 90% being you, and then the prop firm will take 10% for allowing you to trade with their capital, which I think is very generous. So like I said, 34 to 50 bucks, anywhere in that range typically, depending on which prop firm you use, which size of account you'd like to go with to start. And then once you pass, you're able to make, hundreds, if not thousands, whatever it is, on these prop firm accounts if you can hit their criteria. So you can see how a very low amount of downside capital, worst case scenario, if you lose the account, you don't lose 2,000 bucks. You're not on the hook to pay anything back. You only lost the initial entry fee, which in this scenario was only 35 bucks. So really a drop in the bucket if you're thinking about, the amount of money that one could make with, risk management and discipline and all that stuff. So that's why I really like prop firms. I don't want to trade with my own capital. Maybe in the future, if you want to, that's great. It's definitely a goal that you might want to have. But to start, where most people are, being a beginner, you might not want to put up your hard-earned capital that you work very hard for. So we see the blue line is going down. We see the orange line is flat. I think price wants to probably keep on pushing down. I just want to see a little pull higher. Right? I just want to see the RSI go a little bit higher so that I can get myself a nice little discount. I think we may have potentially missed. Oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to bet on price going down here, guys. A little bit of a sharp spike here. Yeah, we're going to lose that trade. All right, so we took the loss there. A little bit of a sharp spike on the wrong side of that is what it is. Felt like we had a decent trade there, right? Overall, price was kind of coming down. Saw the relationship there. We just kind of add a little bit spike higher. So 1 win, 1 loss. No sweat. Typically, I like to stop at 3 trades since we're only here for about 20 to 30 minutes trading. You don't want to overdo it. You can very easily take 10, 20 trades if you're not careful, and that can very quickly blow up one of your accounts. Now, where prop firm trading gets super interesting is when copy trading comes into play. All right, so copy trading, with these prop firms, you can have multiple accounts worth $50,000. So this specific prop firm that I'm using, Apex Trader Funding, allows you to have 20 accounts at the exact same time. So what that means is that if I utilize copy trading, I could take a trade on one account, and in the background, without me having to click the button additional times, it would take the exact same trade pretty much at the exact second time, exact same time, and multiply your profits or potential losses. Remember that. But let's say on that trade before that I made $100. Had I used copy trading with 20 accounts, I would have made $2,000 just by simply having more accounts. So it doesn't require any extra work other than the fact that you have to pay for those accounts, right? They do have to be passed as a challenge as well. You can copy trade during a challenge, so you can get multiple accounts passed simultaneously. But in any sense, it's not something you would probably do off the start because you do have to pay for them. So 20 accounts times $40, it's not a crazy number. It's not unrealistic, but it might not be something that you would do day one. You'd probably start with 1 or 2, work your way up, reinvest some of your potential payout profit into more accounts. And that's how you scale, by using copy trading. So if you were to try and scale the other way by just trading more or adding more size, that's fine. But you'll probably run into some times where you go through a losing streak. And during those losing streaks, when you're making bigger trades or you're trading more, you're more likely to blow those accounts and just not properly manage your risk. So if we can go for small base hit style trades, right? We're going for $100, $100, 200, 75, whatever it is, instead of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 in a single trade, like you might be seeing on social media and all the things. We can keep our risk small. Probably the nerves won't be as high when you're in a trade, which is always good. But then when you look at the P&L, when you copy trade off 20 accounts, you're like, wow, I just made 2,000, 5,000, whatever it is, just off a $100 trade. So that's really where the beauty of prop firms comes into play. So we have about a minute or so until the news event. There's nothing specific that I'm looking for. It's just one of those times where I probably not want to be in a trade. I was in a trade doing that on Friday. Wasn't a good idea. So I'm learning from my mistakes to not do that. I typically like to trade also in the morning as well. That's kind of like my prime session when the market is most active. But I like the afternoon sometimes as well. Can be a little bit slower, a little less trades, more calming. How do you handle the short income tax hit? Yeah, so all things tax related, obviously I can't give any tax advice. You need to speak to your tax professional on that. But typically, the way prop firms work, they would send you a 1099. And then from there, you can handle it however you need or find appropriate. But yeah, that's how the prop firms do it. Anything else I can't speak to. So about 10 seconds, I'm expecting a big spike. I have no idea which way it's going to go. Doesn't really matter to me. But let's see what happens in about now. All right, so not a huge spike. Sometimes it's a big spike, sometimes it's a little one, or sometimes it takes a second. So we're going to see if we can get maybe one more trade, hit our 3 trade limit for the day. Throughout the weeks, I'm going to continue to have 20-minute trader guests come on. So hopefully Wednesday I'll be having a very, very special guest to share his experience on 20-minute trading and kind of why he joined and just any insights that he's learned over the years as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. I know I was saying before, you can trade at different times. If you're someone that wants to trade at night with futures, you can. Even if it's not with our system, just so you guys know, futures trading is open 23 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So the only time the market closes is at 5 Eastern to 6 Eastern. And then from there, you can just get right back to it. Now, you probably wouldn't trade at 4 in the morning. You could, but maybe you wouldn't, just depending on your schedule. I know I wouldn't trade at 4 a.m. But we see the blue line going up. I would love to see the orange line start to go a little bit flat and then see a little drop down in the RSI. Jump in for a long as my final trade. Nice pop down in the RSI there. Just not getting our orange line to go in a separate direction. They're both just pushing up. Do you trade when markets open? Yes. So that's typically when I like to trade at 9:30 Eastern time. If I'm not live, I like to trade during the morning. Like I said, it's the most volatility that you'll have because once the actual stock exchange opens, it just makes it go crazy. All right. But we see the blue line pointing down, staying flat as the orange line is going up. Now, it might be a little bit tough to try and take a short here just based off how this is pushing higher and higher. So you want to keep that in mind in terms of, when you're setting your risk and, are you willing to bail on the trade, things like that. But I do think price would probably continue lower if we get a little spike up, a little bit of a discount there. So let's see if we get that in a second. Okay, it's popping up. Now we see them starting to flip. All right, so I'm going to hold off. We see the difference in directions are starting to change. So it's just a little bit of indecisiveness that I don't want to be a part of. But the blue line is up, orange line is down. That's more so what I wanted to see because we are in more of an uptrend, So I'm just looking for a little bit of a drop down in the RSI there, which we get right there. All right. We're going to bet on price going up again, but it looks like we might have guessed wrong. But let's see, the trade is not quite over yet. Stop loss is down here. Take profit is up above. And we are going to take our second loss on the day. So we see the direction, right? It's just flipping over and over again. It's one of those markets where it's probably best to say, okay, I'm not in control. Can't really guess the markets right now. So we're just going to kind of walk away from that. All right, we see go up, go down, go up. There's just no real trend at the moment. So it's not really something I want to be a part of. Hard to know that before you were in. What's the orange and blue line? The blue line is the S&P 500. The orange line is the Dow Jones. Why does one have to go down while the other one goes up? Can you explain? Well, yeah, if they're parallel, right, if the lines are parallel, kind of like they are now, there's really no guessing to be had, right? They're just going in the same direction, right? They're two indexes, so they have a relationship between each other. So when they're different, it means that something is likely to occur, right? Something can happen. There's a change happening, and that's what I want to be a part of. It's just showing me which way the blue line likely wants to continue. But if they're both going up or both going down, I won't be able to see any separation, and I won't be able to get an idea of what that might look like. So typically they do just follow each other, but when we have those differences in direction, that's when abnormal things can happen, and that's what we want. But yeah, we're gonna. Let me see if you guys have any other questions. If you guys are enjoying what you're seeing here, feel free, like I said, comment the word more. Check your DMs for an absolutely free ticket to the upcoming web class. Don't want to miss that. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, click the link in the description there. Claim your ticket. So overall, I think we're only down like 50 bucks for the session. Nothing crazy. So that's totally fine. We can make that back in one trade. But we're still trucking along, right? We're about halfway there to our payout goal, or rather our passing the challenge goal, and then we have to make another typically 2,500 to 3,000, and then we could take a payout of a couple $100. So we're about a quarter of the way there, I would say. So you see the blue line going down, orange line going up. All I would be looking for is a little pop higher of the RSI in a little bit. So all I wanted was it to go up a little bit higher, and I would have jumped in somewhere over there. Looks like we just kind of missed out on that nice drop there. How much you need to start? Yeah, so for this specific account, I paid $35 for this account to get access to the 50,000 of capital. Now you can totally paper trade this. TradingView has a 30-day free trial as well. You can check them out. So really, you don't need anything to start. You know, just trying to implement the system. You can practice trade. But if you want to start a prop firm, anywhere from 35, like I said, to maybe about 75 bucks. Depends on which prop firm you go with. But yeah, you don't need a whole lot. So I like this trade in terms of price going down. Right, blue line is flat, orange line is up. Kind of got to pop up with the RSI there. So I'd probably be betting on price going down. But we did take our 3 trades for the day. That's kind of my limit. I feel like once I take a 4th and a 5th and a 6th, it usually winds up being negative. So I'm just going to stop there. But we see a pretty nice drop kind of right after I said that. Does anybody have any other questions here? Comments, concerns? Is there an opportunity to be mentored to walk through the process? For sure. Comment the word more, and we will DM you an absolutely free ticket. You can find out exactly how we do that for you. And then just check your DMs. That's for John Morris. Comment the word more. Yeah, that'll pretty much do it for my trading here. Seems like we don't have a ton of questions here. Totally fine. We're going to keep going back at it throughout the week. So only down about 50 bucks for the day. We'll get it back the rest of the week. Comment the word more. Go get your absolute free ticket. If you guys need us, you know where to find us. And other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.